Yasmeen. I'm Dilip, Thakore, editor of EducationWorld.
Hi there, Summiya Yasmeen, managing editor.
In the first issue of the new fiscal year, and at the beginning, with the academic year about to begin very shortly, we present the EducationWorld India Higher Education Rankings 22-23. In this, we rank arts, science and commerce colleges and
India's top 100 private engineering
colleges as well.
Yes. We'll tell you more about these rankings later on when we come to the cover story. But as usual, we're going to take you through what we've got in this information-packed April issue for our readers. Dilip, should we start with the editorial section?
Yes.
As usual in the editorial section, two hard-hitting edits. The first one on analyzing BJP's victory in Uttar Pradesh, which we
three other state elections,
and which we ascribe in our analysis to the combination of Hindutva plus welfare schemes. And in the second edit, we've tackled the Ukraine invasion,
where we've taken a slightly different tack and perhaps explained that it was provoked by the expansion of NATO right to the borders of Russia. That's the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Perhaps the expansion of NATO right to the borders of Russia provoked this war between the two countries.
Yes. And moving to our education news section, again, very informative and analytical education news from the different states. First, of course, from Delhi, where the announcement of the common university entrance test by UGC has literally set the cat among the pigeons, because this test has been announced at the fag end of the academic year when students are preparing for the board exams, and now they have to prepare for QET as well.
Yes, so we get the conflicting views.
Yes, the conflicting views of principals, many of whom and students were opposed to the introduction of this test, especially this year, and some to the entire concept of having a common university entrance test, which in
for
a way
all central universities.
Yes. Which in a way negates the class 12 high stake board exam.
Yes.
And moving on to Maharashtra, a big scam there in Maharashtra about bloated student enrollments.
Yes, false enrollments and schools claiming larger grants from the state government.
Yes, the scam has been exposed there. We recommend you read it. And then in Karnataka, we talk about
no reaction to the very long closure in terms of just the politicians are disinterested in how to close make up the learning loss.
Over 1,004, the minister has admitted in the assembly that over 1,400 government and private schools had zero student enrollments. So
new enrollments, yes.
In the academic year 2021-22, highlighting the growing cost of the pandemic.
Yes. And in West Bengal also, it's a lot of disinterest in making up the learning loss of the pandemic, almost 2 years.
Yes. And in Tamil Nadu, again, we talk about, how the CUT has, sparked...
It's a common university entrance test.
Yes, sparked widespread outrage. As, you might know that, Tamil Nadu is already opposed and in fact has passed an act banning NEET. And now...
That's for medical education.
Yes, for medical education.
Common
and now again,
test.
They have raised great objection to QET.
Then we have our national roundup of education notes and briefs. And then expert comment page by a new contributor this time, Rashid Kidwai, who is a Delhi-based columnist, author of Summiya, a biography, and visiting fellow at the Observer Research Foundation.
Yes.
He talks about why, again, the BJP made a 4-1 victory in the latest assembly elections.
Yes. And now we come to our cover story, the EducationWorld India Higher Education Rankings 2022-23. This is our 10th year of our ranking, Dilip, and
yes.
here we've ranked India's top 500 arts, science and commerce colleges, which to avoid apples and oranges type comparisons, we've divided into 3 categories, which is private autonomous, government autonomous and non-autonomous colleges.
I think we need to point out that this is a very complex structure has been created, in that you have you have some colleges, arts, science and commerce colleges, which are been conceded. Only 800 colleges out of 40,000, right?
Yes.
Have been given autonomy, and these again are divided to private, government, and then there are excellent colleges which should have been autonomous a long time ago, which are not autonomous, which including St. Stephen's, Lady Shri Ram College, Miranda House, all of them with Delhi University.
Yes. So let's tell our readers a little bit about the methodology, how we did this survey. So this survey has been done by the Delhi-based Market Research and Opinion Polls firm Center for Forecasting and Research, which has interviewed a knowledgeable sample respondents comprising over 4,000 final year students and faculty of colleges, who have rated and ranked these colleges across 6 parameters of education excellence, Dilip, including competence of faculty, teacher welfare and development, leadership, value for money, curriculum and pedagogy, etc. So these are very in-depth rankings. We've got the national tables, we've got state tables, and we've also got parameter-wise rankings of how these arts, science and commerce colleges have fared on each of the 6 parameters. In-depth, comprehensive. In fact, I believe, if I'm saying so myself, the most comprehensive rankings of arts, science and commerce colleges in India.
Yes, and the objective is to enable students to choose the kind of colleges that suit their own aptitudes, aspirations.
Yes, and we've also got in this issue India's top 100 private engineering colleges. And this again has been done by C4. C4 has interviewed over 3,000 final year students, engineering colleges faculty, and most importantly, industry representatives to rate and rank India's top 100 private engineering colleges. Why private, Dilip? I mean, we started by ranking including also the IITs and NITs, but over the last 4 years, we excluded them from these rankings. Will you tell our readers why?
Yes, because obviously they always rank they're top ranked all the time. IITs followed by NITs. So we thought perhaps it become monotonous, and they anyway admit only 2% of all the people who write the JEE, that's the Joint Entrance Exam for the IITs. So we felt it's perhaps more convenient for our readers if we excluded them, because anyway they top the ranking.
Yes.
But you see, 98% of the students who aspire to go into higher engineering education institutions are going to the colleges that we have rated in that.
Yes, correct. And again here we've got the National League table, we've got state tables, we've got parameter-wise tables, city tables as well, which can be,
very useful for aspirants
and
to
here,
choose the kind of college that they would like to go
and
to.
here we've got a wide range of parameters, again here starting from competence of faculty, placements, research and innovation. It's very comprehensive. Highly recommend. It's recommend especially to school leavers and parents to choose engineering and technology colleges best suited to their aptitudes.
So these are the 100 top private engineering colleges, which excluding IITs, NITs.
Yes.
NITs. Yes.
And all these, the ranking tables are all available on our. In addition to the narrative, they all available. All the tables are available on EducationWorld.in. Please log on and study these tables very carefully.
Perhaps the third category we've done is the 100 top non-autonomous colleges. These are India's actually the best colleges, the highest scores across arts and science colleges. And these are ones with perhaps better scores than private autonomous and government autonomous. But they are not autonomous for mysterious reasons. Anyway,
And most of them are affiliated to Delhi University, which is a central
Yes.
university, which perhaps also explains why they haven't been given autonomy. But all this is going to change with the national education policy,
Yes.
recommending the dismantling of the college-university affiliation system and creation of thousands of multidisciplinary higher education institutions.
Universities.
Yes, universities which with degree awarding powers.
So that is a very denouement we should look forward to.
Yes, indeed. Yes. So we recommend our Education World Higher Education Rankings 2022-23 highly to our readers. Now moving ahead to our teacher-to-teacher column, Dilip. Again, very interesting column written by Mr. Vedant Thadani on why we need to liberalize India's tightly regulated higher education sector.
Yes. And he takes his cue from the large number of students going abroad,
yes.
like even to countries like the Ukraine, to study medicine, and it took a lot of expense and trouble to get them back into the country safely. Yes. In our book review, we've also a very interesting book review, which is a book, a compilation of essays edited by Sanjay Barua and Sanjay Babu, I think.
Yeah, Sanjay Babu.
Sanjay Babu and Rahul Sharma on how explains the rise of China and how they actually perhaps fooled America into fueling and enabling and aiding the rise of modern China, which today has become the world's second largest economy.
Yes.
Very interesting book, and perhaps the review gives you an overview of that, the rise of China.
Yes, our second book review is Afterlives by the Nobel Literature winner, former Nobel Literature winner Abdul Razak Gurna, on talking about the German colonization of Africa.
Yes. Which is really an area of darkness, but nobody has
yes.
really written about that.
Yeah.
And it's an expose. Actually, there were a lot of atrocities and horrors which were perpetrated by Germany in the early 20th century.
And of course, our Postscript page, back of the page, Postscript page, very interesting tidbits. One on LIC, Life Insurance Corporation, which soon is going to release an IPO, and why it's a corporation without a heart. Some interesting insights over there.
We are not very impressed with the
yes.
performance of LIC over the last 50-60 years. Only 3% of Indians, adults, are covered by life insurance, as opposed to 54% in the US.
Yeah. So
that's it.
Highly recommend that you read our Education World April issue. And before we go, we'll tell you a little bit about our cover story in ParentsWorld. In ParentsWorld, this month we've done I think a very timely story, especially against the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic having orphaned over 30,000 children across India. We talk about
orphans, yes. Orphaned by the pandemic. Yes.
We talk about this whole thing about adopting children and how parents. Of course, we make a strong case for liberalization. And
firstly, we point out in our introduction, it's very difficult even today to adopt children, very complex rules and regulations.
Yes.
However, our focus is not on that.
Yes.
It's on what happens after people have braved the system and adopted children. How to make adopted children feel loved and secure.
Yes.
It's a very important subject. It's ironical that in India, where we have the world's largest child and youth population, adoption numbers are relative to population are very small.
Yes.
Perhaps, and there are millions and millions of children who need to be given homes, loving, comfortable homes, security, but the process is very difficult, and perhaps we make a plea that it should be liberalized and children should be given loving and secure homes.
Thank you.
Thank you.